All right, everyone, welcome to the Big Ben Fishing Report. How have you been, Pat?
I've been good. Yourself?
Not too shabby. How about you, Greg?
I've been good. Made it through the holidays. Feels like it was last year already.
But I think we're supposed to be talking about fishing.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have been. So just to tell everyone, Greg and I have started a new podcast, the RFO, The Wild Outdoors. It is not live yet, but it will be soon. We just recorded an episode with Pat. So be looking for that. We'll make an announcement when everything comes out. But yeah, some exciting stuff going on. It's been cold. It's been hot. It's been everything in between.
It has, and the fishing's been the same way.
That's right.
Yeah, it's been good the whole time. I mean, we've been fishing with a little bit of an advantage with the airboat on the low tides, but it's still, even that, you notice the trends in how the fish are moving when the water warms up and when it cools off, and mainly where they're located in the creeks. They're either, when it's really cold, it seems like the holes that have mud flats around them where they can kind of get up and sun on that mud are good. And when it's just normal, it seems like the mouths of the creeks are really, really on. But it's like almost like I think you said it one day, they're staging to come out as soon as that water comes up when it's warm.
And then one day, you and I both were out there, and it was right after cold front, and it was very cold.
Mm-hmm.
Every fish we caught felt like you were pulling it out of a cooler.
Mm-hmm.
And I go out and I'm running from one creek to the next, and the amount of fish on the flats, like they got trapped, trying to come in. And they were every fish, redfish, trout, just stacked up right in line. Wait, as that water came up, they kept pushing in. Like they knew they needed to be in that creek. Yeah. But they weren't.
They couldn't get there yet. Yeah, it's been a strange year. I mean, as far as from the last 3 or 4 with the airboat, there's plenty of fish, and there's plenty of fish inside and outside, which is kind of the strange part. Because usually, especially in the wintertime, once the cold water settles in, those fish usually don't venture far from the creeks.
There's a lot of fish outside.
There is.
Honestly, I'm going to say there's more fish outside than there is in the creeks.
Especially redfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And trout. Especially on these warmer days, just after Christmas. I was talking to Pat today. We had that warming trend during Christmas week. It was 80 degrees on Christmas Day. And then I fished every day that week except for Christmas Day. Christmas Eve, the day after, the 2 days after Christmas, that Friday and Saturday, we absolutely wore the fish out. And they were big fish. That's what we were targeting. We were targeting quality big fish. We did catch some slots, don't get me wrong. But Friday, the goal was to catch big fish. And we caught some big trout, some big redfish. And then Saturday, it was a boy that was on break, so he wanted to go back to school, show off the pictures of the fish he caught. He fished with me 2 days. They went before they came with me. They were fishing with Benny Blanco down
down the Everglades.
The Everglades, yep. And anyways, we caught a ton of big fish. And then I said, you know what? We're going to go have some fun. And we went to the water came up, and I was in my skiff. I wasn't in the airboat that day. And we went to a mud flat just outside of a creek. So I knew these fish were, I was catching them on the negatives in the creek in this hole. And as the water came up, as I would leave there, the bite would start slowing down. We knew the fish were moving. So I go to another creek that, the way we fish those, as you know, Greg, you have some that you can't get into till the water comes up a little bit. So I was moving out of the first one I started at as the water came up, moving into the next one. As I was coming out, I seen all those fish on that flat. Well, I remembered that,
the next day.
It was actually almost a week later.
Yeah.
And so we moved over there, and it was every cast.
Yeah. The one thing, we haven't had a lot of patterns per se because the weather's been so up and down. But the one thing I've noticed And you were saying it, you get right towards the end of that, almost, when the next front is coming, 3 or 4 days ahead of that next front, when the water's probably at the warmest it's going to be, and you still get that low water. It seemed like the fish are just turned on, because it did it to me Monday and Tuesday of this week.
Right.
Even Sunday was good, but Monday and Tuesday, as we were getting, where that water really probably in the creeks and stuff was close to 70. I mean, the fish just lit up. And, I know it's got to do with metabolism and everything, but it just seems like that's been a steady pattern for us. Is, you get that cold, you got 3 or 4 days after, especially the cold we've had, where, we've had nights in the 20s, that water gets really cold, and those fish almost go, I don't want to say dormant, but they get really cold. So they're not moving much, they're not eating much, until they, like we talked about last time, they start warming up and getting the, the blood flowing again.
That's right.
But, other than that, it's been kind of amazing to see fish on the outside when it's that cold in that shallow water. It's not something I'm used to seeing.
And like I said, it's been good. And in fact, we filmed a show, or I filmed a show with Jonathan Moss, Captain's Log.
Mm-hmm.
What was that, last Friday?
Yeah.
And we were coming out of one creek, going across the flat, going to another creek, and there was no exaggeration. This is literally no exaggeration. Probably 400, 500 redfish on this flat.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing to see. I mean, it was.
Well, it was the day we had motor problems, and I broke down out in the middle of the flat. And as the tide came in, I was literally having my clients throw at fish as they were swimming by me coming in while I was waiting on Anthony. And I gotta huge thank you to Anthony Hughes, his father, and one of the boys that works with him, Seth.
Yeah.
They had an extra boat out there, and they brought me their boat, and they sat in my broke down boat and waited till I finished my charter and brought them their boat back. And a huge thank you. I mean, it was 3 or 4 hours that they sat in that boat with no motor.
And give the name of his business in Madison, is it?
Yeah, it's in Madison. It's Anthony Hughes. It's Hughes Airboats, and he
Hughes
also
Airboats and Marine.
Marine. Exactly. I was going to say that he's doing all kinds of outboard, oil changes and all that kind of stuff, and repair.
He is a great outboard mechanic. Seth.
Yeah, and they work on mud motors. They work on outboards. They work on anything to do with airboats. He's a witch. He's phenomenal.
And just a solid guy.
Yeah. Yep.
The whole family there. His wife.
There's not many people that come and say, "Here, just take my boat and I'll sit on yours for 3-4 hours."
Right.
Come back and get me when you're done.
I've never heard of anybody do
that. I did when I was expecting him to pull me in, and they came over there and they're like, "No, just take this one." I was like, okay.
and afterwards helped you tow the boat to the hill, get it on a trailer.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't just end with that. Yeah. And now he's, really doing me a solid and getting the boat ready for me. And, I'll have it to use for the next set of things, just all because of Anthony. So that's huge. I mean, it's one of those things where, if he ever needs anything, or if there's anything I can do, for sure. And he knows that. But yeah, if anybody needs any kind of outboard marine work done, Hughes Airboat and Marine.
Yeah. I don't know what it used to be called, but it's next to L&W.
Yeah.
It used to be a Mercury dealer there. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's no longer that.
Yeah.
It's Hughes Airboats and Marine.
Yes.
He does trailers, trailer repair.
If it's broke, he can pretty much fix
outboards,
it.
Yes.
Yeah, there's not much he can do.
So. Just a solid guy. He built my airboat,
mm-hmm.
and I had a starter go out. You remember this? Twice actually. It ended up being the ignition switch failure. It was a brand new ignition switch. But I called him. You were in Alabama, I believe,
mm-hmm.
And I called him. He said, "Well, I'm at home. I got to go to Madison, pick up a boat, and I'll come to you." No, you were on a trip.
I was on a trip.
You were on a trip because you went and picked. Brandy went and picked the starter up.
Yeah. And he brought it out to you.
So he went and picked up an airboat from his shop, which was the opposite direction. Went from his house, went to the shop, picked up airboat, met met my wife in
Mhm.
town, got the starter, or actually she met it at the river, came out there, changed the starter, and I was on a trip. I had a trip.
Yep.
He brought his father and his mechanic Seth, and they stayed out there all day till I finished my trip. I mean, they fished. They stayed off of this in case something else went wrong. You know, where are you going to find customer service like that?
You can't. You can't.
So we'll get back to fishing.
Yep. Yep. Now that we've thanked Anthony.
Yeah. It's
So what's it been like at Keaton?
I haven't been much. I went today and caught a few black sea bass, but I didn't have enough tide to get anywhere near the creek.
Yeah.
The water was less than 1.5 feet on high and minus what, 1 point something. It was low. By the time I got to the beach, I was probably at 0, maybe a little better.
Yeah.
Didn't get out there very long. I really wanted to get me about a dozen black sea bass, but bite didn't last me that long. I brought back 4 of them, and I missed a couple. But I was changing colors too because they were not eating the 5-inch bait as well as they did the sea shad.
so
That's about all I have. I hadn't been. I hadn't been other than
Well, with holidays and everything, it always jumbles everything.
right.
So I'm gonna talk about lures a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, we had this rain, and it didn't change it a lot, but there was a little more stain in the water in the
Mhm.
creeks, especially. And I've been throwing the Canada Crawl Little P&V from Assassin.
Yeah.
And the brown glass minnow. And I stopped in at Wilson's Bait and Tackle to get ice one day. And I looked over there and I seen the deal, Little P&V.
Mm-hmm.
And Pat and I had seen them when we were over there at Assassin. And
Right.
I didn't
I think-
get any.
I think I had maybe 1 or 2, but I've never used them.
And I just happened to pick them up. And I said, you know, it's a good looking color. I've used that color before. And I just went ahead and grabbed them like I needed more. Anyways, get out there. And I had brown glass minnow on one. I had Canada Crawl on one. I had that. And then I had the Elite Shiner. What is that? Pro Blue?
Oh, that
Red-
the one we had. Yeah, it's
Right.
got that red tinge
Pro
in
blue,
it.
red pearl.
Yeah.
Pro
Blue.
All
red
of them
pearl.
are catching fish. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But when that water stained up a little bit, the deal made the difference.
Did
What
it?
color? Describe that color.
I don't
I'm-
know, I don't
yeah,
know
I
what
would
you
say
would
you're
say.
gonna have
It's
to-
like a.
I'm not sure I know that one.
Let me just pull. I'll pull up.
Well, you can't tell much usually from the color from the picture.
Look at that. I had Assassin already pulled up. It's I'm not even gonna try to tell you because I'm gonna be wrong when I tell you.
I say we were using a lot of the brown glass minnow, and then
That brown glass. That's the first one that pulls up.
yeah, I went back to the Canadian Crawl just because I really like that color, and you know we did good, and like I said, towards the end there though, that the Mirrodine and that new color, what we decided was Boogie Woogie.
Boogie Woogie.
Yep, it's a new color that Eric
Which
has.
is an electric chicken adaptation.
Yep.
So they don't even have it on here.
And it did really well. They started. I had one client that was throwing that one. He had brought it
Looking
with
for
him,
salt.
and
Oh,
Looking for-
oh, it was.
and when it went
How's the
away, yep, it was all- and when it went away, or when he got
Looking-
done with it and
looking
went
at
home,
red,
it
looking at
didn't
red.
look like a brand new lure anymore. It was definitely chewed up and tore up, and like I said, that the last 2 days they really started eating the hard baits again, which I assume typically it means
They're warmer.
they're warmer. But
If it hadn't got to be dragging the bottom, it generally means they're warm.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
yeah, and the thing with the trout, especially when they were in the holes in the creeks, is if you hooked one, you threw right in there behind them, you'd hook another one instantly. So I'm sure they were piled in there, and they were hungry.
So
And they were
I'm not even going
competitive.
to try to. I'm not even going to try to say that or make this up. But I just had to look it up with other companies. It says green pumpkin, black blue, pearl white, silver flash. And it is similar to another company's deal. So let me see if I can find it.
Is it a dark color or a light color?
It's both.
Okay.
That may not have made it by the time that
Doesn't sound.
that website was
You're
up.
kidding me.
It was newer than the website.
Yeah.
You see that right there? It's kind of that slightly translucent bottom.
I call that very close to baby bass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kind
I
of,
was
but
gonna say that,
it's a
yeah.
little more brown than baby
Right.
bass.
Okay.
Right.
And it has a pearl
Belly.
belly.
So it's like mama's chicken with the pearl belly. Without
But
the
it has like a
chartreuse tail.
bluish hue pearl.
Yeah.
Um,
Because mama chicken's kind of that brownish instead of the green.
anyways, go to Wilson's Bait and Tackle, check it out. Because obviously you're not going to find it on
What's
their
the name
website.
of it again?
The deal.
The Deal. The Deal's the deal. So
What are you Ned rigging or are you running a jig head?
I'm running. Actually, I'm using the Assassin keel weighted hook screw lock.
Aha. He's cheap.
mhm. Well,
He's using a swim bait rig. by
Yeah, it's a
Assassin.
swim- yeah.
It's a 1/8, has a screw head on it, and then the thing like 1/8
it's
and the 4/0.
So it depends. If
Another trick.
1/8 if we don't have a lot of water movement,
right.
because the fish are cold typically right now. So if we don't have a lot of water movement, I'm throwing 1/8. If we do have a lot of water movement, I'm throwing quarter.
Mhm.
And
All right.
I really wish sometimes I had a little bit more. But
Well, they make a 3/8, don't they?
I don't know if Assassin does.
They might not. I know I've seen three. I saw them somewhere. I thought it was Assassin. The might not
Well,
be, but
So here's the deal with, and I know it probably sounds like I'm a salesman for Assassin, but I use their products because they work.
Yeah.
And the reason I started using those hooks is when I was fishing the redfish tournaments, I started using the Little Boss.
Mhm.
And when I was there, I just happened to pick up some of those hooks, and I tied it on there. And well, let me rephrase it. My teammate had a Little Boss on, and I was watching his. I saw, and he was catching fish. Well, I had already had that Assassin hook on, but I was throwing some. I think I was throwing a 5-inch. And then I put it on the Little Boss on that one. I'm looking, the whole bait is shaking. His, you just had the tail moving like normal.
right.
And I started catching 2 and 3 to 1 of his. I mean, that whole bait was just, the action on it
Wobbling.
was unreal. And so we went back. This was in Louisiana. Went back a couple of weeks later, or I think it was probably, I think we had another tournament 3 weeks later, or a month later or something. So I went back pre-fishing, and I put on a swim bait, sea shad.
Shad.
The sea shad, the whole thing was vibrating like that.
Hmm.
I'm like, there's something to this hook. You know, I put a jig head on it, just you see the
Yeah,
tail
just
going.
swim.
And I don't know what it is. He's got something figured out there. And I mean, Pat will tell you a lot of times I would, with the 5-inch, I was using that VMC, was it Drop Dead?
Yeah, drop dead.
But those Assassin hooks
Mhm.
changes the whole action of the bait.
Well, that's
Yeah.
your keel weight itself. The water's grabbing
Yeah, but
that keel bait.
I use other brands of keel weights. They don't do that.
Well, it's the shape of his keel weight.
Right.
It's got that what I call a wheeler spoon shape, where it starts smaller and it's bigger in the back, so it falls off of that plane. It wants to come on plane and falls off, and that's where you're getting that quiver out of it.
So
Whatever it's doing, it's working right.
right. So keep that in mind. I mean, if you,
Yeah.
I mean, they work. And
Well, and everybody, when you're rigging your baits, especially if you're using a keel weighted hook or just a regular screw lock with a weedless hook, you should always, kind of work your bait off the, leave about 3-4 foot of line and pull it through and see what your bait's doing.
Right.
I mean, that in order to throw it and know what it's doing out there, you need to see what it's doing in here. And a lot of people don't do that. They'll put them on and just throw them. And I always just pull them along, just mainly to make sure I know what the bait's going to do, but I mainly do it to make sure I've got them straight and they're not just spinning.
Rig
Right.
straight.
Yeah, make sure I got them rigged straight. But it's something that, even if you tie on a hard bait, you should be pulling it through the water to get an idea of how it's working
Make sure it's working correctly.
and make sure it's working correctly.
I can't tell you how many times I've had to adjust the eye on
Yeah.
water bait.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore. Years ago, we
Yeah,
had to do it
and a
all
lot
the
of
time.
people don't know that. You can, Pat probably, I'm sure Pat knows this from bass fishing, used to take, the I call them twitch baits, but like the Rapalas and stuff like that. And you could actually bend the nose and make that bait run in. So if
Yep.
you were fishing an edge, you throw in and that bait would dive under.
The dog.
Yep. And you can do this.
Floating dog.
Yeah, you can do the same with these baits out here. You can make them go to the left, you can make them go to the right, or you can make them track straight. And not many people mess with that anymore, but you can still do it. And like I said, it's very important to know what your bait's doing in order to work that bait the way you want it to work.
So we talked before, and I don't use a lot of scent products. But I got to bring this up because I told Pat about it today, and I know you and I have talked about it,
Yeah.
Greg. Jonathan came, when he came and filmed the show. First stop, we caught some redfish. He was using scent, I wasn't. I mean, the redfish were there. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew they were.
And that was
there.
a tough day.
That was a tough day.
Yeah.
But then we moved around looking for some trout. I didn't catch a trout, and he caught some good trout.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I don't want to give it all away. The last fish of the day, we caught a bonus fish.
Mm-hmm.
You have to watch the show when it airs.
Did you say a boneless
a
fish?
bonus? A bonus
Bonus.
fish. A bonus
A
fish
special fish.
that doesn't typically eat an artificial bait.
Sheep's head.
No. They're going to have to watch the show to find out.
Okay.
So, and we'll let you know when it's going to air. But, anyways, I had to ask him. We got back. I said, "What was that?"
Mm-hmm.
And it was Kodiak scents, and it was a shrimp. He said it's a freeze dried shrimp. And so
You got a great look on your face. You need to raise your head up, let everybody else see you.
so he gives me a tube of it. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try it, and it works.
Yeah.
It definitely works. I'm not a scent guy, but there are days when it's tough. I mean,
So here's my theory on scents. And,
Did we ask you?
well, I'm going to tell you.
Go
Because I
ahead.
know you've got one too. I have no doubt.
You're right.
There's nothing you don't have an opinion or a theory on. I know this by now.
I learned about scent before you were.
I have no doubt.
guiding, but that's
Most
okay.
That's
we
when it
don't-
was garlic and salt, though.
fresh.
That's
No,
what he still uses.
I'm telling you, the baits I use are called fish formula.
Fish bites.
Fish formula back in the 70s and 80s, and I used to use it by the case, which was 12 bottles in a case. And in the end of the winter, I would have used it up. I took a 3x5 card
Mm-hmm.
file, little plastic, put roofing lid in it so it wouldn't turn over, poured it full, and would dip that Zoom worm on there and throw it. But now I never put it on until the water was below 55 degrees. And then I used it almost every cast, freshwater. I used Bang by Assassin's Bang
I remember when I was
every 3 casts.
just starting to really watch a lot of fishing shows. They had those little dip tubs. It was like a spittoon they put on the front of the boat, and they
That's
dip
right.
them and cast them.
Hey, it can mean the difference of getting a bite every cast or not at all.
So
Kenny got his butt whipped, and Kenny's a really good fisherman. So what he's saying is he never heard of Kodiak before, but he's going to look for some and
Well,
see
it definitely
and
worked.
see.
I'm not gonna.
He
Yeah.
said it was a paste made out of
Yeah,
freeze-dried.
it was in a tube.
Kind of like the Procure stuff is
Yeah, but
it's
it,
not
it,
solid.
it
but
was
it's not liquid.
actually. I mean, you had to force it out because there's like
Yeah.
pieces of shrimp in
it
it.
was dense.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I call that a paste.
Yeah.
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 Now,
Well,
go ahead.
what you were
What's your
saying
theory?
falls into that
What's
about
your
how
theory?
about the cold water. I think if you're using an artificial, especially, and you're working a bait, that's why gulps work 100%. I've dead sticked them and caught fish on them. So I know they work, they smell them, they find them. However, if you're throwing a bait out and working it back to you, by the time that fish comes in contact with that scent, starts tracking that scent, and finally catches up to it, more than likely you've made 2 or 3 casts again already. You know, the fish isn't, they're not finding the scent and chasing it down that fast, is what I'm saying. Now, if it's cold and you're working the baits very slow and just bounce, 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 let it sit, bounce, let it sit. Those fish track and they find that bait because you're working it slower. So I think you're going to get bites on it. I don't think that it doesn't work when when the water's warmer.
We're just working it faster.
We're working it fast enough that they don't get it, and we're getting the reaction bites, not the scent bites. When it's cold, we're working that bait slow, so I think scent actually helps then. I think the gulps work better when it's slow like that because you're working the bait so slow. That's my theory on bait. On scent, I should say. Is it correct or am I off?
Well, you got to start over with what I said. There's no point in pulling it out. And the reasons you just described, when it's warm, you don't need it because the fish can react to the shaky, 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 hoppy, 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 poppy, poppy, whatever you're doing. The action that you give the bait or the bait's action, depending on which it is, hard or soft. I never use it on a hard bait. I thought that was stupid. Always did. I'm not going to put it on a hard bait.
I agree.
But there are people that do.
Oh, yeah.
You watch them on TV, take that Procure and rub it on a Miradine. That's silly to me.
They're selling Procure.
Well, I'm not poo-pooing Procure or anything, whatever. But
It
the difference is that back in the day when we used to take the fish and put them in a bucket and get the slime off the fish, and then take the jig and rub it in there, it would be June and July, and I'd outfish you 3-1 with that scent from that trout. The reason being that fish can run up to that bait and refuse that bait when the water's warm twice as quickly as he can in cold water. So it can be a convincer on baits that get the reaction. He runs up there, and then when he hits the smell zone, he takes the bait. I do not just use Bang in cold weather. I use Bang across the year, all the way. But when I bass fished, I didn't use scent until I needed it, which in my opinion was what we call the pork versus plastic rule, which was 55 degrees. And what pork meant was a pork rind you put as a teaser on a spoon. Y'all did in Florida. We were putting them on
jigs.
On a jig. Right.
So someone says scent doesn't work. Why pinch the tail off when fishing with a live shrimp? I don't pinch the tail off.
Well, I do, and I didn't say scent doesn't work.
Yeah,
I do.
If you're
But
if you're going to throw it out there and let it sit, they're going to find it.
yeah.
But yeah, I pinch the tail. Good comment. I agree with you.
Yep.
But that shrimp,
they're gonna eat it regardless.
So there's two reasons I pinch the tail off shrimp when I'm using them. One, because I tail hook most of the shrimp when I'm fishing them. So you pinch the tail off when you throw it, it throws like a bullet because that tail doesn't fan out to glide in, and I think it releases a little more scent, whether it does or not.
that.
Yeah, like that.
I've never heard that before. Put on a shrimp. I think the size of the weight in front of the shrimp or whatever. If you don't have a weight, you're unweighted shrimp.
I'm usually using unweighted.
That makes
unweighted. I'm definitely
Now
gonna hook
that
them in the
makes
tail
more
because
sense.
It's like throwing a dart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said,
I just leave the tail on.
Yeah. I mean,
I never hook a shrimp on the tail. I'll pinch the tail off, thread it through, go up, cross his eyes, and bring it back sheep's head fishing. But if I'm throwing a shrimp live to a fish, I'm going under his chin so I can drag him along the bottom, and the hook will be upright. And I'm not going in his tail. They bite his head. That's what they're looking for. The black spot on the shrimp, and his eyes are black.
I hook it both ways.
Never tail hook one in my life, except to prove they wouldn't hit it. I have done that.
And if you're ever having to skip under mangroves,
I don't even know what a mangrove looks like. I've seen pictures of mangroves, but never.
But my point is, the vast majority of the time, I don't need it. I don't need this. But on a day like that, it was tough.
Yeah. And every advantage, I mean, a fish is obviously, every fish sense of smell is phenomenal. I mean, I've watched literally watched schools of redfish move across the flat into an area that we had chummed with bait, and you'll watch them get down. You'll see them come around. You'll watch them get down current of it, and the whole school will turn. just, I mean, it's like watching a herd of pigs, you know, when they're finding,
Because of the smell.
because
Yeah.
of the smell. They'll get
Chum.
down current of it. They'll hit that smell.
I never used
right
chum
to
to catch travel reds, but I know y'all, you Yankees, I mean, you guys in South Florida do that, but I realize, have you, Kenny, ever?
I've
used
never
chum?
used chum for redfish.
The only thing I've ever tried to chum up was mango snapper all out deep.
If
But
you,
anyway,
you
the
fish down
point-
Central Florida, you'd
the
be
point-
chumming for them.
yeah, that's why you're here now.
You're right.
Because the fishing
I've never
sucks.
chummed them up here. I'll say
Because
that.
the fishing sucks down there now.
The only time I used chum was casting it in greenback.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I did that. That's bait. That's
Mhm.
using to catch bait. But that stuff was made. Well, Kenny, the what we used to use, matter of fact, was that Purina fish chow.
Yep.
Sounded like that guy just took the Purina fish chow concept, because that's glass shrimp
You made a
that,
paste
that
out of
they
it.
that they use.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
glass shrimp that they pond raise.
Yeah. And then grind them.
up. So I imagine that's where he got
You
that
know
idea.
another reason I don't like having it on the boat? Because they think you got to put it on every
Yeah.
cast.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you what
I need more scent.
Let me tell you what I do. I take the bang and they got your rod holder or cleat, and I go right by the cleat and I say, now this spot right here, you should not step on when you go to leave this boat, or you will bust your butt. Okay, but I spray the gunnel of the boat, and then you drag it through the spray spot on the boat. Then you don't spray and get it back in your face and on your glasses, because my clientele need a little help usually. And so I help them. I say, and there's your spot, and you'll remember it's by that big black rod holder, or it's by that cleat. And then they can drag that bait through there every third cast.
Well, just
And
tell
whether-
them to catch fish every cast, and then they can rub it on the
They can just rub it on the fish.
Well, that's not politically correct anymore. You're not supposed to remove his slime or he dies.
Oh, he's going in the box. It don't matter.
Like he goes, oh, my slime's gone. Oh, I'm dead. I don't. I wish I had something that was the trout itself smell.
So I am gonna tell you about a lure. Well, I told you today, Pat, and I know I told Greg.
Well, tell that right now. Tell that what you did first the day before, and then you bought those lures and did what you did the next day. Right? Didn't you have the kid on the boat 2 days and you only had the lure the second day?
No, I got the lure. I got the lure that first day with me.
Oh, okay.
But I fished 2 days before,
Right.
and 2 days before we were in the creeks, and the water, it was starting to warm up. And like I said, it was 80 degrees on Christmas, and I was running out of the creek. And when I ran out, it's when I'd seen all those fish
Mhm.
out, outside the creek, and
Right.
just fish everywhere, trout, redfish. I mean, they're just everywhere out on the flats. And so that morning I stopped at Wilson's to get some ice. And I said, you know what? I need some plugs. And I was going to get some Myrdines.
Mhm.
And I knew it was going to be overcast. So I was going to grab some broken glass silver. And I did. They had 2 of them. But then I got to thinking, I said, well, it's a low tide. It's a negative low. And these fish are going to be shallow. Like we're going very slow in my micro drag. In fact, broke the skeg off my power pole trolling motor.
Really?
Yeah,
How do you do that?
hitting rocks.
Going where you shouldn't go.
Yeah, going where I shouldn't go, but I had to go where the fish were.
The skeg on that $5,000 motor?
But it's replaceable.
Oh,
They were smart enough to make it replaceable.
Yep.
Anyways,
never.
I said,
Never. I've run a lot. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I run an awful lot of trolling motors for years, 12 years freshwater fishing, and I have lost the whole motor. I hit a wave and there it goes. I said, there goes $500-$600 right there. See it? Shoot. Hit a wave and launched.
Gone.
A Mercury thruster, no less, big black. And then when it came down, caught one of them and came down.
it muted us. I don't know how long we've been muted.
Oh, shit.
Anyways,
Well, we can cut now, right?
no, we're messing up, but I'll keep an eye on it now. So the first time I broke one was I was down in Homosassa, and we were snook fishing, and I was having to get in tight. There was a trough on the edge of a mangrove line, and it was super shallow getting in there, and we hooked up on a fish, and I wasn't paying attention, and the trolling motor got caught, or the skeg got caught in between a gap of limestone on the bottom. It just broke it.
Popped it off.
So, yeah, I said lost audio. We got it back now. But
What hour was that? When you lost
yeah, I don't know. It wasn't that long ago. Anyways, so the day after Christmas, I knew it was going to be shallow. I go into Wilson's. I get my broken glass gold. I'm thinking, I need something.
You said silver last
or silver. I'm sorry, broken glass gold.
I gotta watch him.
Broken glass gold is what
I'm
I
not
normally
sure which
use.
one he used.
I normally use gold, but on the cloudy days, I want a silver.
Mm-hmm.
And anyways,
You using the 17 or the 27?
27.
I bought them in the 17.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Silver.
80 degrees out. The water temp was 72 degrees. I'm like,
Might as well throw the big one.
and I'm gonna throw the big ones. I was looking for big trout. That's what they wanted, was some big trout and redfish.
Have anybody on your boat wanted little trout?
Well, I'm talking over slots.
I understand what you mean.
Um,
Every cast I make, I'm trying to catch an over. Just the way I am. Is that why you swing? What way you hang?
Yep.
so,
Go big or go home.
anyways, I'm thinking I want something that will float. I hear you. I want something that'll float because I don't have much water until it starts coming up. I do not like a redfin. I can't stand the redfin. You can't cast them 20 feet. If you have an 8-foot lightweight rod, you can't cast them 20 feet. They're terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I know,
And two trout later, they don't have any finish on them.
yeah, and their hooks rust when you take them out of the package before you make it to
Before they hit the water.
Anyways, and I know some of these people that troll the river all day long. You know, the 40 boats that's sitting in the middle of the river when you're trying to get by. Anyways, so I'm looking at all these lures at Wilson's. In Yo-Zuri, I seen a Yo-Zuri. I forget what it's called. I'm gonna have to look it up. Floating crystal minnow, I think is what it is. Something.
They make a pin minnow too. It's a little bit. It's about.
This is like a wake bait almost,
Yeah,
and the lip on it is flat, like a wake bait. Straight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perpendicular.
Yeah, that's not the pin minnow then.
So
It is.
and I'd used it before a couple of years ago. I used the gold, and they had 2 silver ones. So all they had was 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I was on the,
So you put them in your bag with your redfin and you went fishing.
I did not get a redfin. Now I have caught a lot of fish on a redfin. If I can go without using a redfin and I can find something else,
Oh yeah,
I'm
I
going
hate
to
them
use
too.
it.
I hate them.
So you're saying you spent a lot of money in Wilson's the other day?
I spent about $60 in lures that
Yeah,
day.
lures ain't cheap no more.
No, and that was 4 lures.
I know.
So, but I'm glad I did
Yeah.
because I get out there and I'm on my way to the ramp, and my friend Steve calls me, and he was heading out there too. And he said, "What are you going to throw today?" So I told him. He's like, "I'm going to Wilson. I'm going to get some." I said, "They don't have any left." So he went to Rockies, and he calls me. Man, Rockies has got them. You want me to pick you some up? And so he ended up getting them. Anyways, we get out there. We caught 13 trout over 25 inches in 2 days.
Yeah.
We caught redfish. I mean, it was just on fire. And we weren't doing a steady retrieve because they will dive. They'll dive about 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet. We were working them like a redfin.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more aggressive than a redfin because redfin you just
Twitch.
barely. I was treating them more like a Miradine. Twitch pause.
Yeah.
Twitch pause.
But they were only going down about an inch. Or
Yeah,
two.
they were only going down a couple of inches. Now you threw a top water, they weren't eating it. But you
Right.
threw that, and just because it went down a couple inches,
Mhm.
it made the difference. And I've shared this tip before years ago. In the wintertime, a lot of times I'll change my Myrdine hooks to the KVD triple grit hooks, and they're lighter. And you'll actually twitch the Myrdine, and it'll dive down and float up.
Hmm.
And Captain Billy Henderson is the one that taught me that.
We changed hooks on the Catch 2000 and they'd float.
Right.
But see, the difference is if you take the same mirror lure Eric builds over to the Atlantic side, it'll float, and over here it'll sink because of salt. There's
Water
much more
density.
salt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
But-
he had to really
Tweak
tinker
it.
with them until he got it. So ours sink faster than we'd like for him to, but his mirror look Dean sinks slower than the Catch. If I
Yeah.
remember right. And you talking about testing a bait beside the boat, there's a good example of where you need to take those suspenders and see how long. I call it count. You make the count at the boat.
Yep.
And then you make your cast, and then you know whether you stay out the bars and off the rocks and oysters.
Yeah, and some of the lures, I mean, they'll be the same lure, and they'll, just because of manufacturing, one may sink a little more, one may actually float or be neutral.
Right.
I mean, you just don't,
You leave them hanging on the windshield like I do, and it'll become a floater.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up. And,
because the hot air gets in.
They get pregnant. They swell up. They have sex on that boat on that
On that
and get
windshield.
pregnant. Yes.
so the fingerling is what I was looking for,
Mhm.
but they didn't have
Yeah.
what I wanted. They
I like
had
that
suspending ones, and I wanted a floating one. So it's called the 3D Inshore Surface Minnow.
No, it's not named all that. Come
It is
on. 3D. So what?
3D Inshore Surface Minnow.
Damn. Who would
Wow.
ever thought? And what color were you throwing?
I was throwing. It looks like silver black,
The rat bastard. Okay.
And I think I got a couple.
silver
of them.
black.
How long are they? Was it like a 2.5 inch bait?
Yeah.
I think I got a couple of them. Just looking at the bait on the phone, the picture. of
Yeah, it's probably maybe 3 inches.
it. Okay.
Well, it says on there.
That's what I was looking
Description.
for.
Not very good at that, are you?
It doesn't say. It doesn't say the.
This internet thing's kind of new.
It actually doesn't say. I had to go down further. 3.5 inches.
Okay. That might not be the one.
And I'm going to take a screenshot.
The
so
ones
that
I
they
got are a
can
little bit
see.
shorter, but they look like that same profile.
And let me ask you something. You bought two. You said that the grandfather wasn't fishing, that the grandson was, and you were fishing because you were on the boat.
I did fish a little bit.
You only had two, so you tied those two on. Did you ever put it down and throw?
I never threw one.
You never threw one. The kid caught them all.
I did throw a Myrdine. I did catch fish.
Okay.
But that was out producing. And it
Because
was the action. It was, coming down a couple inches and going back up.
they couldn't stand it because that's as much aggression as they had to come down there and blast that thing when it was crippled.
Well, if they're on the outside like that, they're looking for food.
Generally, less is more if you're throwing a hard bait.
Mhm.
Do you believe that?
I
I
mean,
mean, you understand?
you mean the way you're working it?
Yeah.
Yes,
On
for sure.
action, you should allow the bait to do as much as it can do by itself, which means you do less. And once you find that quiver that Kenny's talking about, there are rarely plugs that imitate that shake that you were talking about that plastic will do with that swim bait on it.
Right.
And see, that's one of the tricks like Polaknik or Polaniak in the bass world. He understands that shake of those larger baits, and you've really got to have patience to let them display what action they have.
Oh, Polnick, you mean?
I can't say his name.
I'm going to put this
Yeah.
as soon as I can find where.
And that's one of the things when you're
Slayer.
fishing this time of year is, pay attention to what you're doing, as far as catching fish. And when you catch one,
Yeah.
do it again.
Well, Kenny Slayer makes that 1/16 ounce swim bait hook,
Mhm.
has that little bitty, like 2 BBs, little pontoon, little keel underneath there.
Yep.
And I had one of those days, like you said, where every time I threw that 5-inch with that, I was catching fish, and I couldn't get them to hit the drop dead or the. I had another one. I can't remember whose it is, but anyway.
Now I really like the drop dead, especially if I'm sight fishing, because it falls so flat.
Oh,
And when it falls flat like that, it just kind of,
Mhm.
because of the current in the water,
Get a little wave in
it
it.
gets a little bit of wave, and that, especially
Yeah.
sight fishing.
if you've got current pulling against it, then that's when I like it.
All right, I just posted. That's
You
the
can shake it and hold,
Mhm.
and that drop dead
You
will
keep
just
it
kind
there.
of stop
so there's the Ozuri 3D inshore surface minnow.
in the color that you.
Yes,
That's a good looking bait.
Mhm.
it caught me,
Kind of looks like a ballyhoo.
which is what most of these lure designers
Yeah,
catch us.
for
But,
sure.
but
It's
When-
the most important thing is that it is not a redfin.
yeah, so that's part of it. The reason I was looking for that is the bait I was seeing.
Well, if you go back to the picture.
Yeah.
Go back to the picture. All right. That lip is a wake lip, but it is exactly the same angle and dangle that a redfin has, which is why it won't go down.
Right.
And we used to take a cigarette lighter and heat certain baits, and you had to take a cheap one to do it. And we take those imitations that Cabela made of the Rapalas
Mhm.
in this genre and heat it and make a weight bait. But we did it for spotted bass over in Alabama and Martin and Logan Martin and Wetumpka. It's not it. It's not Wetumpka. I can't say the name of Little Lake Harris. Little Lake Harris is one of the names, but anyway, Wadally. Little Wadally. And what it would do is you could wake that thing, and those spotted bass would come up from 20, 25 feet
Mhm.
and blow that thing out of the water. But if you put the lip like they designed it to take it under, it wouldn't wake, they wouldn't do it. As I call it, the shoulders. You don't want the shoulders of the lure to go underwater, and that's about mid-raise. The back is always out of the water, in other words. Those were originally striper lures. They were not made for trout or reds or whatever. If you take the bigger, sure enough, big Cordell redfin, there's a 9-inch, a 7-inch, and a 5-inch. That 9 and 7 we call stripers on, and they'll come up out of 30 and 40 feet and blow it out of the water. But nobody will V-wake a dam for trout.
Well, you know what I call a redfin? The Kmart blue light special.
Now, there's a lot of people too old to know what too young to know.
Let's say too
What's
old.
Kmart?
Too young to know what a blue light special is.
Man.
That's what I call the.
Well, you know, in the late 1900s.
But you remember the Zara.
The last
spook?
century.
You know the Zara spook they call Silver Shiner.
Yeah.
That's what I used to call it. Is a blue plate special. It has that blue stripe on it. The blue stripe special. Excuse me.
Blue
And that
stripes.
was in honor of Kresge. You know, Kresge, who was what Kmart, that was a name. His name was Kresge. And Kresge was a genius because what he did is he'd have a blue light special and run out, write you a rain check, and then order as many as they already had sold. Then he didn't have to spend the money before.
Before he
And
made
he'd
it.
run the blue light special on a product that he didn't have. He knew he didn't have them because he didn't want to sell what was already. He wanted to get that money, and what you couldn't get the rain check without paying them. So you paid him with the rain check, and then boom, he had that cash to work with him.
Yeah.
He was the first to ever do that.
You just couldn't outsmart Sam Walton.
Well, Kresge was sold. Kmart was sold before.
I was he probably didn't try real hard.
I think Kresge was dead. But anyway, that's a long time ago. A long time ago. But the blue light special. Well, that Ozuri now, I want you to remember I said this, you'll never catch another fish on this.
It had its day.
Because you bragged them way too.
It had its day.
Well,
And
you know,
it's
I knew
going
the
in
conditions
cow.
were right for it.
It's going in the cow collection. You know what cow is? Remember? Color of the week.
Color of the
Okay.
week.
It's going in the color of the week with all those other plugs that you don't
Mhm.
carry in the boat because you're a soft plastic.
Soon it will be a
machine.
pretty bait with rusty hooks on it
Right.
because it sits in the.
That's when it gets good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not arguing on that. Gets a little bit of character, patina on it.
Tina. I was going to
Yeah.
say it, but you
Yeah.
got it first.
It's funny you talk about wake baits. When we were fishing tournaments, something I found out, or we found worked really well when we fished areas that had jetties, whether it was Jacksonville or Galveston or not Kemah, but oh god, Port Aransas, Texas, and those areas like that where we have big rock jetties. We take it was a Bagley's bait, but it was a little, I think it was called a Fat Boy or something. It was a little round
I
bait.
know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. And I mean, you throw that thing out
Bagley
there.
Bee.
Yep, that's what it was.
The
Killer
Bagley
bees.
Bee, Killer Bee.
Yep. And you would just reel that thing slow and just the fat part would be right under the water. You can see that little tail just back and forth above the
Mhm.
water.
Because
Those-
it didn't want to go down.
Yep. Those redfish would crush it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy coming out of those rocks right there. And we did it because you couldn't fish a jig in the rocks. You'd hang them up because they're pieces of granite as big as this table.
Right.
And you really couldn't. You could throw a spoon, but it didn't work real well. But if you could just swim that thing just right, and you get in that right up on the edge, those redfish would sit down in 5-6 foot of water. I mean, it was like snook fishing. It was the coolest thing. Those reds would come up and just blow them things out of
We
the
still got to
water.
get him on a snook.
I
By the
know.
way.
God, no, you know.
Oh yeah, we
I
are.
just
But-
want to talk about it.
So in Jacksonville last year, we were throwing a lot of crankbaits because
Mhm.
around the docks it's so deep.
Yeah.
And so we get over there fishing the redfish tournament, and I'm catching big trout.
Yeah.
My teammates like, we normally don't catch trout this big here. I'm like, I don't know. I brought them with me.
No, there's some big trout. The biggest trout I ever caught was in Jacksonville on a topwater, and I thought I had a snook. I mean, it was literally like 8.5 pounds. That was my personal best.
That's a good.
Oh, it was huge. I'll never forget that thing. But some of the biggest trout I've seen have come out of Jacksonville between the Intercoastal and the Nassau River, or not the Intercoastal, but the St. John's River and the Nassau River.
So talking about lures that you use, catch fish, and never use them again.
Mm.
So I think I may have told this story on here before, but I know I've shared it with some of you guys. And I know some of the people on my boats heard it. My wife was kicking my butt for 2 months fishing. My buddy Travis gave me these stupid looking
She's over
lures.
there nodding.
I
I thought I would just mention that.
He gave me these stupid looking lures, soft plastics. And now, I mean, it was some company, some guy out of Tampa was making them. And they were little soft plastic, looked retarded, had a little rattle in the tail. Well, now Berkeley's making them.
Yeah.
I refused to use them. She was whooping my tail. I refused to use it because of that. I'm going to beat her with something else.
Yep.
It had a rattle insert in the tail,
Yes.
in the curl tail. Oh, who did that? Not
This was a paddle tail,
Yeah.
but it was stupid looking. And
Love's lure.
I don't know if Lowe's did or not. But she, like I said, she was
Tom
whooping my
Mann
tail.
did.
So then we go down to Swanee. She wasn't using these lures this time. We go down to Swanee and we just set up the fish, and there's some fish rolling. I'll just say that there's some fish rolling, and I'm trying to get set up on them.
Mhm.
She gets the rod out, sets it on the side of the boat with a bare hook, no scent on it, no bait on it, bare hook, and catches an 18-inch trout with it. I said, "This, I'm done." So we decided we were going to go fishing one day, and this was when Big Bend Outfitters was open.
Mhm.
And I walk in there, and Live Target just came out with their shrimp, and I seen it, and it caught me.
Yep.
So I bought it. So I'm going to try it out. Went out there, went to the spot, pulled up this oyster bar. I cast out first cast. I hung a 31-inch trout.
Jeez.
Oh, I've heard this story.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
31-inch trout. It weighed, what was it? It was 10 and change,
Wow.
almost 11 pounds. That was the first cast of the day and the last cast of the day. Because I was winning that day.
Yeah, we're done. We're done.
And I haven't used that lure since then.
Yeah, I'm not a big one of those shrimp fan like DOA, and we
I'm
used
not
to
either.
actually, I love DOAs, but we used to take, you were talking about the rattles, we used to take the weight out of them when we night fished around docks, and slide those glass rattle beads up in them and pitch them under docks and let the current and just tap them. And we used to, we would waylay snook and trout under the lights.
Now, last year, maybe a few months ago, you and I got some shrimp lures from Assassin. I think it was last summer.
Mm-hmm.
I like those.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen them?
I don't think I've seen them.
Calls them shrimp cocktail.
Yeah, shrimp.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Well, Robbie changed that thing. He originally made a copy of the of DOA Mark Nichols, and it had legs on it, everything, couldn't fish. And I'd take and snip them all off, and I'd say, Robbie, can you fill this mold up and not make this thing? No. This is what they like. This is what the best is. It took him about 6 or 7 years, and then he filled those holes in and made that thing. And you couldn't run it on this jig head because the front nose was so light. And I said, I need to snip this right here. Now you can fish them.
Yeah, it's a good bait.
I catch a lot of flounder. I used to catch a lot of flounder on it. He's got one he doesn't make anymore. The color's sand under pink. Sand. Zoom, the sand color.
Yep.
Those are great.
Did you see the?
He makes a brown one. Y'all would probably like a brown, clear brown one.
I think that's what I
like
have.
root beer.
I have that one, and I have it's like a greenish.
There's a green one, yeah, green. Those ought to be deadly up in the where y'all fishing.
Did you see the Flamingo Flash little PNV?
I bought some. Remember? Oh, not in the little PNV. I bought it in the.
They got them in the little PNV now.
I had a sea shed I showed you last time. I got y'all some baits over there, and I hadn't thrown it yet. Well, I'm sure it'll work well. So anything pink, I like it. But
you were talking about lures with little to no action, and I was telling Greg today. Michael Aban had called me, and Unfair finally got some lures in, and he asked me if I'd go down and talk to Jared and see if he wanted any. Which did you message him, Brady? Yeah. Amen. Okay. Anyways, I was telling Greg, I said the greenie is my favorite one, and I don't think a lot of people uses it. Most of them use the rip and slash.
Yeah, you always hear the rip and slash.
But I like the greenie and the can't think of the other one. Anyways, my buddy Travis Andrews, he comes up fishing with me. He throws, and he's like, "This thing has no action. It's horrible. Why aren't you throwing a Mirty?" And I said, "Look, right now, this is catching fish." I said, "I know it has no action, and it looks terrible, but it's catching fish." And it just made me think of that whenever you said that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you run as many crankbaits as I had over the years and trolled and everything else, like I said, the hard baits, just the walking the dog, you take a Rebel jumping minnow, and when they want that one, you can throw every spook and every top dog and she dog and everything else. And we killed them on that bone 5-inch jumping minnow. They came back to make it, but they didn't drill the eyes out. And then they finally drilled the eyes, you know what I'm talking about? Recess the eye.
Yep.
And oh my God, we used to catch some big damn trout on it. But I've got about 3 of them left.
You mentioned Love lures. Did you ever throw the Love tandem lures? I know Greg. Yeah. I know Greg did, because I know down there where we're from.
Oh yeah.
I never cared for 2 lures on something. I want to catch them one at a time. Those little tiny, I call them feather jigs he made that were on that rig.
Yeah.
It was a
the
feather
hair jigs.
Yeah, no, it was plastic, but it had a feathery looking.
Oh yeah. The shape.
2-sided.
Yeah.
Like a, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Those things. But now Love's made a cockahoe now. They call it cockahoe, but everybody else thinks it's cock. But that Love's made, the only person who made them better was the guy that made the first Corky, B&L.
Oh yeah.
And those B&L cockahoe minnows, you catch 30, 40, 50 trout on them. They couldn't tear them up. Love's lure was good for half of that.
Yeah.
10 or 15. But it was Love's plastic was 3 times more durable. And I had it in that clear gold I told you about, and I'd run it behind the lure. This was pre Cajun Thunder stuff. But man, I used to see him at the Sergeant show. That's where I met him. And he sent me some of those cockahoes, and I had about 4 colors. And I had those things forever. Had mercurochrome glitter. Remember that?
Mhm.
When the trout wanted that thing, they jump out of the boat for it.
I don't know who H&H makes that lure
Yep.
now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make a bunch of them, but
You know, back in the day, like when we were throwing those, I'd always go to the flea market and I'd buy a big bag of root beer curly tail grubs.
Yep.
Or the red and white with the little flat.
Yep. Cody's.
Yeah, Cody's.
Cody.
But I would go to the flea market and get them in bulk.
Mm-hmm.
And man, we caught so many fish on those. You don't see that anymore. I guess when there's no real flea markets anymore.
Yeah, so really no flea markets, and it
I
costs.
hadn't thought of Cody in a long time.
Yeah.
They made the Pro Tip. Remember that
Oh,
stuff? Pro Tip. You know what? It had the exact same chemical that the gator bait did,
Mhm.
and then later now that Fish Bites does.
Yeah, I knew
So-
Steve real well. Steve was a good guy. He was smart. So we used to.
And that stuff that was hard to fish with, it didn't last 10 casts. It was like galls with I don't know, whipped cream on it.
Now, when Jonathan came up and we were fishing with him, he throws DOA. Everything we threw was DOA. And that DOA curly tail,
Yeah.
that was the ticket.
Mhm.
And they're durable.
I've always liked the curly tail. The problem with curly tails is they get bit off so
Pinfish.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, pinfish. Now,
This time of year, you're
you don't have nearly the pinfish in to chow on everything.
now Z-Man makes a durable curly tail.
Yeah, but it's elastic.
Right.
Yeah.
Aggravating.
Yeah, I mean, once you get them on the hook, you're okay. But yeah, curly tail, especially like you said, when the water's colder, I've always liked them because, especially I forget who it was. I think it was Twister made one that had
Mr. Twister.
that had a wide tail, so you could run it on like an 1/8 jig head and you throw it out. And we used to, when we were fishing the troughs and stuff, you throw it out there and it had such a slow sink rate. You just throw it and you just let it go and you just wait. Dunk. You never even have
Made
to
me
work
think of
the
the
thing.
old helicopter minnow.
Yeah, well, it's basically what it was doing. The tail's just.
Do you remember
spinning.
those, the infomercials?
Oh yeah.
Now we're telling our age again. Of course, Pat's almost double mine, but not quite that much.
Dang.
I remember they used to talk about it on the radio. I didn't have TV.
The banjo minnow, the helicopter minnow.
had the ears on top of the TV, the antenna.
Hey, I remember having to go adjust those.
You had an antenna?
Yeah. I do remember having to get up and go and change the channel though.
Pat had strings in the cans to talk to the neighbor.
I had to change the channel. We had one cat in my whole life growing up with my parents, and his name was Mister. And he would lay in my lap and take his claws, and if he moved, he'd dig in like, "Don't you do it!" And I had to learn to slide my thumbs up under Mister and throw him across the room to get up to go change commercial. And my daddy killed him one time with a broom. He ran down the hall and got under the bed, and I had little double singles in my room and Jan's, and he beat him out from under there, and he ran over one of the other ones. Daddy closed that door. He got him out of there, and he says, "If I ever catch that cat," I'm gonna kill him." And we gave him away. They said, "All right, he's not coming back in this house." We were at the lake already, Mother and Jan and I, and Daddy was weekend, so when he came home from work, he changed clothes, showered, whatever, got his clothes, and would come on up to the lake, up to Lake Sinclair. And that cat was in the house, got in the house with him, opened the door, and he did not like Daddy. And he didn't like him a whole lot more.
Sounds like it was mutual.
He didn't like him a whole lot more when it was over with.
I'm gonna have to. We're talking about some fish. I heard someone a while back say that you don't catch as many big fish in the winter. So I was just gonna bring a couple up here.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that.
They can't get in there where you are.
Well, that is true. They're definitely in different areas, but
Well, that's the thing. I don't think people know where they move and how they move.
Well, y'all are just
So
like
that one,
it's just like hunting.
Hmm.
It's just
that's
like
a solid
hunting.
fish.
You spend enough time. Yeah, that was like a Texas fish right
Mhm.
there. That is a beautiful.
whenever they bend in the middle like that,
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, they're good ones.
That's beautiful.
Hmm.
Get people fired up here. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I don't know if it'll let me do a video, but I was in Keaton Beach Bums today. I just took a little video of some of the hard baits they had that I was going to share. For the people that don't know, they are operational. They have the semi trailers. They have a nice setup. I don't know if it'll let me show. Yeah, there we go. For you Redfin fans, there you go.
Cotton Cordell.
But Jared has plenty of lures and
Yeah, the last few times
Live
I've been by
shrimp.
there, they look like they've had. I mean, they're not overwhelmed, but they've had 4 or 5 cars in the parking
He's got
lot.
a nice collection of baits now.
but it's the fishing has been good. Don't get me wrong, it has. But golly, we need some stabilized weather.
Yeah, it just needs to. I mean, it needs to get in a pattern where it's either just gonna stay warm or stay cold. And I think we're getting. I mean, like I said, we're supposed to. I mean, although the water's probably up in the low 70s already by now. I don't know what you said. You were out today.
It
What
was
was it?
66 at the jetty and 61 offshore.
Okay.
Probably 65 to 70 in the creeks.
Okay. So by the time the next cold front gets here on Monday, you're probably gonna have 3 to 4 more degrees on that. And I mean, it's just it's those sharp changes because the cold fronts that are coming through. I mean, it's supposed to be in the 20s again.
Yeah.
Next week,
Mm.
and that sharp drop is what gets them.
Another decent one.
Yeah, it's a good red. But I always tell everybody
Is
after.
that going to the public?
Mhm.
So they've been watching you look for that picture?
No. Just when I pull it up.
I didn't.
Yeah, but it always seems like 3 or 4 days after those fronts go through, you get those days like that right there. Where you get those,
Right.
It's the weather thing. The weather report says light and variable, or winds variable. Those are the days you really want to try and get out there because it's those. I don't like it slick flat, but it allows the water to warm up faster. I think when it's slick flat like that,
Yeah.
and it also. It gives you a better look at what's down there. You can see fish if you've got to fish slow, but you can see fish moving a lot better on those slicked out days.
Let me ask you a question. Is the afternoon highs better just like it is on the open go? Does it matter?
So I'll tell you about this. The other day, I didn't have a choice but to go. We had negative low in the morning. Well, then we had the south wind picked up. When that tide came back in, it was higher than I've ever seen it. And it was a struggle to catch fish.
But I fished that same morning and crushed them.
Yeah. And we caught some good redfish.
Yeah.
The trout was tough.
But I think what you're getting at, and I've noticed it in the creeks the last 2 weeks, the last couple sets of airboat tides, that when the water's low and outgoing, the fish eat very well. The first part of the incoming tide, where that water's going across the mud and warming up before it gets to the
Or it
fish,
hadn't changed. It's just shifted the sheet. Go ahead.
is good. Once the water gets up and it's that cold water coming in, I mean, the bite shuts down.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
In a second. That cold water hits them, and they literally, you can feel it shut off.
And you're not there long enough to know if it comes back on the backside.
No, because we're usually when the water in the airboat, when the water gets to that point,
You're done.
we're pretty much done.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say this, on the airboat side, I say no. Even if you stay, because you see it taper off.
Mhm.
But when I'm in my skiff and I'm fishing that high water, I'm out on the flat. So
Yeah.
I'm out on the
You can
edges,
find them. Yeah,
and
they
they'll eat there because that's been heating up
Mhm.
all day long. It's been exposed, and then by the time I'm getting to them, they've it's already kind of changed as that water came up. It's had time to heat up.
And I think what happens there too is those fish transition out of the creeks and move out to the outside on that high
Yeah.
water. They're coming out. They're not coming out there for the warm water. They're coming out there to get on those bars and stuff like that to feed. I think.
Yeah.
I think that if there's a bunch of fish in one hole, there's obviously not enough food for all those fish. So I think when they get the chance to move and go and look for more food, I think that's what they're doing. And typically they're not far from the mouths of creeks. I've noticed, like the creeks that I've been doing very well in with the airboat, when I come out of those creeks, I see fish.
Let me ask you a question. Are you catching enough fish that you're cleaning fish? Do you have all release to checks to know if they actually are feeding or if they're just moving around?
No, I'm cleaning trout. I mean, we've caught fish just about every trip. I mean,
And what do they have in their stomach?
in their stomach,
Not much.
yeah, there's not much in their stomachs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Then they're not feeding. I wanted to
No, but we're catching them when they're in the holes. We're not catching them afterwards.
once they break.
That's what I'm saying. So when they come out of those holes, when they get enough water, I think they're coming out to feed. You know, I don't think they're just going out there going for a walk. I think they're coming out to feed. So if you were to catch them in the afternoon, they'd probably have full bellies. Now the redfish have crabs and shrimp in them.
Well, they always do.
Yeah,
They don't care what the temperature is.
Yeah.
I will say
I don't think.
the redfish are not stacked in every creek like they typically.
not like they have been
you know.
in years past.
I've got one or two that are holding redfish good
Same way.
consistently.
Yeah, but there's a lot more redfish on the outside that never went into the creeks.
Oh, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the part I don't understand that part, but you know, I'm not a redfish, so.
I think it's because you haven't had a sustained week to 10 days where the water was cold or getting colder because it was turning around yo-yoing back, yo-yoing back.
Mhm.
And those reds are moving up in there for something to eat, but they don't have any reason to jump in that creek.
Yeah, and
So
there's no reason to stay.
They're more cold water tolerant and temperate than a trout anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's ganging them up for you. Because when Kenny said he's 400 reds, that's more reds normally than we have in 15 miles of coastline.
Oh, I mean,
Isn't it?
I kid you not. There was that many.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was
even
absolutely
if you're
insane.
if you're off by half, you're still looking at more reds than you normally would have available to you on the outside of those creeks from
Oh, yeah.
Rock Island all the way to the beach.
Yeah.
Am I right?
I mean, it was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
You were out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could run across, and it was one of those slick days off. So when you're running, you can just see the fish moving. I mean, it's just nonstop. You're watching wakes go out, you know, 2, 3 here, 2, 3 here, 2, 3. I mean, just constant. And it's like I said, I mean, I agree with you that there's been no reason for them to push in. And I actually think, you know, it might be now, you know, because the water is cold, but I mean, I don't know, maybe they've become conditioned to it and they're good with being on the outside.
Gradually, yeah. If
Yeah.
they get gradually used to it, I've seen the trout be out there on the flats in February when the water temperature was 54, and we'd be catching trout on damn devils and redfin. Unfortunately, I caught them when it was so cold you had to wait 10 seconds between your count,
Yeah.
and those trout were half a mile offshore. They weren't anywhere near.
Yeah.
And these fish, these weren't your typical, you know, 18 to 22
Yeah.
inch fish that you
They're big
typically
fish.
catch in creeks. These are big fish. You know, and in fact, when Seth and Anthony Stagg got on that boat, he
Caught
caught
a
2 over 30 inches.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of them, he said he doesn't know how big the top of your cooler is.
Yeah. I told him there were 30-inch coolers.
But he said it was hanging off of both
Mhm.
sides.
That's what he told me.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's just, Robert Pennington said 73 inshore today.
Okay.
So, but that day, what was unique about that day is we'd seen over 20-degree swing in water temps overnight.
Yeah.
You know, and those fish, I mean, they were stacked up tight. I think they were trying to get in.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to be in the creeks, but
No, it's like I said. I mean,
I'm not
you
talking
can,
about your trout so much as all those. He says, why, you know,
Yeah.
what's significantly different is last year, and what I recall for 2 years before, I'd already put my boat on the trailer because the water had been 50-something degrees for
in
2
November.
weeks,
Yeah.
2 weeks running.
Yeah.
It had stayed down in the 50s, and Kenny would say it's 43, it's 47, it's 42.
Mm-hmm.
You hadn't had that,
no, we've had a couple of days of it here and there.
Yeah.
but it
And
would
it comes right
jam
back.
right back warm.
Yeah. It doesn't stay.
And it takes them longer to drop to that temperature that you see, and they're not there yet.
Right.
And then if it starts warming, then it halts that drop, that cool off. And to where they can recover in 3 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's what because it strikes me as odd when I come out of the creeks and start running and see that many, and I see more redfish on the outside than I do trout. I mean, there's trout with them, but I mean, there's a ton of reds on the outside still, and it's all the way up. I mean, I haven't been past the Oscilla in quite some time, but I mean, I see them, north of the Econfina, south or east and west, whichever way you want to say. Mm-hmm. But I see them on the Oscilla side of the Econfina and on the Rock Island side, both. So it's not, it's not conducive just to one little area that's got fish out there. And you're seeing them south of Rock Island. Yeah. So it's just one of those years where they didn't pile in, and it shows when we're fishing. Because like I said, when the airboat stuff is right, it doesn't matter where you go. You find a deep hole, you're going to catch redfish. This year is not like that.
No. Got a question for you. Where'd those fish come from? You and I couldn't catch them all year. Where'd they come from?
I've been trying to figure it, because remember, you and I had a conversation. I'm like, I'm worried about our fishery.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember that.
But
also remember, you guys were getting them down, off of Spring Warrior, Keaton, Fen Holloway.
Still not by the numbers that.
But I wasn't getting any at Econfina. Remember,
Right.
I was telling you that. I'm like, I'm not seeing anything.
And that kind of, I threw a theory out there. Swanee, Cedar Key was catching trout like they never had.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, they always had trout.
Yeah.
But they were catching numbers like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Brent saying they were just
absolutely
many as you
insane.
wanted.
And quick.
Yeah.
And then
Quick means there's a lot of fish.
they started catching the horseshoe. And then the steam hatchet was popping off.
Yeah.
And then we started catching a few more. Well, now it's just, they're thick.
Yeah.
It's,
They migrated north.
yeah, I 100% believe that they were redistributed by
The storms.
the storm, and now they're moving their way back.
Yeah.
I thoroughly
They're
believe
moving the
that.
wrong way though. They should not be coming to us when it's cold. They should be going to.
Yeah, but it's not
Homosassa.
cold.
They should be going to Homosassa. They should be going to Crystal River. They shouldn't be coming to us.
Well, there was a lot of bait up here too. Maybe they followed the bait.
There's still bait here.
Yeah, there's still bait. I mean, maybe they followed. I mean, we had just hordes of glass minnows and ballyhoo, and
Which is why I bought that lure that day.
I mean,
I knew we were fishing on the outside. I wasn't in the airboat.
Yeah, they might have just followed. I mean, who knows? But why they are where they are. But
Well, I didn't see my thousands of pinfish like I did Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, I was out there. I don't know if we talked about it or what. When was the last time we did this?
it was a week before Christmas.
Okay. But there were thousands of pinfish out there in 8-10 feet of water like they were the year before. But normally that's from Thanksgiving to Christmas. But they were there. I mean, you look down, the whole bottom's moving. It looked like it, and that was just sheets and sheets of pinfish where those pinfish had moved out there. I didn't see any of them today because I didn't have good light. I didn't have good highlight. You really need that light straight up to see it real well, but I didn't see the signs of any of them.
There's been a fair amount in creeks,
Mm-hmm.
and normally they're not.
Yeah. Well, I had a younger girl on the boat the other day with her grandfather and father, and she was using shrimp, and she was every once in a while she'd get them, get pecked at with the pinfish.
Now, sheep's head, that's normal. That's something that normally stack up in the creeks, and they are in some, around Oscilla and west of Oscilla. But normally we have them in the creeks here right now.
Yeah,
big ones. And I'm still seeing a lot of them out on the flats.
Yeah. Well, that day,
which tells me it just hasn't gotten cold enough to push them.
Well, she threw shrimp all day, and we caught one sheephead all day.
On shrimp.
On shrimp. Yeah. I mean, she caught a ton of fish, but just one sheephead.
Now, I did one trip. You remember, it was the day my water pump went out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I went to a hole that I knew redfish were stacked in, and we couldn't get them to eat. And that morning, I stopped at Wilson's. I grabbed some shrimp. I put them on ice. I didn't keep them alive. I put them on ice. It was every freaking cast. We weren't catching. And I told the guys, I'm telling you, these fish are here. And they told you, what, you probably caught 60.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's just what they want.
60 sheep's head or 60 fish?
Sure, redfish.
Redfish.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought you were talking
but
about
where I was
sheep's head.
going with that is that's a hole that normally holds a lot of
Little
sheep.
sheephead.
And
Yeah, I haven't.
we've caught two total, and both of those were on little PMV.
I haven't seen many sheephead, and typically when I go into a creek, I slow out the mouth and I idle into it. So you see everything as you're going in, and the number of sheephead I'm seeing is a lot less than what I would expect to see. So but they are on the outside. You see them out there around the oyster bars and stuff like that when you're moving creek to creek. You'll see them out there. You'll have a school of 20 of them swim off an oyster bar.
As much as I hate cold weather, I used to love it. I can't take it anymore. And I'm ready for some cold weather to stay.
Yeah. We just get
I can't believe anybody would complain when he's had an 11 fish over 25 inches in the last 30 days, and he's complaining about wanting the weather.
because he just bought that airboat. He needs to use it. Damn it!
I don't care. I don't care. Shouldn't be complaining.
Well, no, I would like to get some sheephead.
Yeah.
We probably still have some of the freezer from last year, but would
I
like.
love eating them. I hate cleaning them.
Yeah, it's like triple tail in summertime.
Mhm.
I love it. Speaking of that, how'd you like the triple tail? Did you eat it?
What are you talking about?
Triple tail. Did you eat triple tail?
When we went, yes, it was great.
Mm.
I've forgotten that. It's been so long.
I've been forgetting to ask you.
Yeah, that's one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
It's just when he said it was hard to clean, it made me think about triple
Triple
tail.
tail.
No, I didn't think he was hard to clean off, but he wasn't that big. But sheep's head don't bother me. But here's the thing you do. You take the blade that you got with the electric knife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you take it and put it in a vise. And you go by the chainsaw file that fits that hole. And you say 1, 2. Then you move to the next one. 1, 2. And you make that sucker so sharp that when you go like that, you just cut it all in half. Your blade is not sharp like you can make it sharp. And you sharpen that blade. I've cleaned this room full of sheep's head several times because I used to catch them and I didn't keep them.
You're just making me remember why I don't like cleaning fish.
Yeah.
That's too
Well,
much
you
work.
say you need a machete and a hatchet to clean the sheep.
Well, let's hit some questions real quick.
The machete to scale him and hatchet to
Hatchet
cut
cut
him.
Yeah. So Ricky Kern says, be back in Keaton Monday. First thing is booking a trip with Kenny. Get the boat ready, my friend. Will do. Christopher Such said, hi, guys. Great trip with Greg a couple weeks ago. Brian Dudley. Awesome. Can't wait to hit the Gulf of America. He asked, what color gulp are they hitting? New penny. Can't go wrong with new penny.
New penny or white.
Robert Penny said, hey, Pat, Bob here. We fished north of Keaton Beach today near Adams Beach. No bite all afternoon. 30 minutes before dark, oversized trout every third cast. Question, were those trout there all day or did they come from somewhere?
They were there all day waiting for the water to go out to bring the warm water to them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they were cold all day until that tide shifted. And from what you're saying, probably been 2 hours of fall, right? When was the tide? I'd say
should have been around
I'd
2
say
o'clock.
that was it was high. Oh, it was high at 5 o'clock. No wonder. Yeah, high at 4:58, 5 o'clock. Yep, about dark. When that water stopped moving or just did start to go out.
Yep.
They didn't bite for the rest of the boats I talked to during the day either. I know what you caught them on. You caught them on a dang redfin. Say yeah.
There's the problem.
Say yeah. Because that's all he and Jack throw anymore.
There's the problem. No.
Come
go.
on, Bob. Be honest. You caught him on a cotton cordell.
So Fletcher Commander says, top water, only thing working for me besides live, struggling with my plastics. Probably working them too fast.
Yeah, probably working too fast.
And Brian says, I love my cotton cordell redfin. Don Carey says, Brian, go to Wilson's Bait and Tackle and get you some live shrimp. All right, we already did that one.
Miami, Ole Miss, we're missing this game. It's killing me. It's 10-10.
Bruce Rackless says, just want to say I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this show.
Bruce Ratliff?
Yeah.
How you doing, Bruce?
Cameron says Captain Pat is full of knowledge. He's full of a lot of stuff.
I knew that was coming.
Oh, if you only knew, which he probably does.
David Bosch says the information in his head and only his head.
I don't know why y'all pick on an old man.
So Bruce Rackless says, question, saw something on the GPS and confirmed it. 14-foot hole surrounded by 3 feet of water. Could this be an offshore spring hole?
More than likely a bomb hole.
That's
Where
what I
it?
was thinking was a
Yeah.
bombing hole.
They used, if y'all don't know this, I'll give you some history, but Perry's Airport was a naval air station, and they taught them torpedo bombing, and they used Grassy Island as a target because it was about the size of the length of a ship, and that's why that hole was dug out. Is how many times they dropped that thing and it would hit right there. They also used the reef, the shallow water reef there where Deacle Rack is, and that's why those bomb holes are in that flat. They use those shallow water targets because they could see it from the air. And of course, Grassy was above ground, but even some of those reefs. But that's where that huge deep hole came from on the south side of Grassy. And they would also use the palm trees and target the palm trees and shoot the head out of it. They shoot the head out of the palm tree.
Not a good place to be a palm tree
No.
or anybody picking coconuts.
But otherwise, that 14-foot hole, I've dove 5 or 6 springs that don't spring anymore over the years, and they were all out in 30+ feet of water.
Yeah, so typically, and if you get a spring inshore, it'd still be pumping. You know.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
After good rain in Georgia,
Yeah.
it would pump. It might not pump until the water level.
You should
On
have a
the
little bit
table.
of a temperature change there, or
And-
color change.
Right.
Bruce said this one was north of Rock Island. If you send me the coordinates, I'll go check it out.
Yeah, say,
That
everybody's thinking.
That old hole I fished that hole in the 60s. Daddy used to run.
I know where he's talking about.
You know where he's from.
That's a bomb hole.
Yeah, that would make sense up there.
You could drop down there with a piece of cut bait, and a little black sea bass about that long would come up by 20 and 30, and we'd net 2 and 3 at a time. There wasn't any size limit on them. And they'd be in that hole. We eat them. We scale them, cut the heads off, fry them whole, and eat them. That's good. Those little black sea bass. Of course, they're not legal now unless they're 10 inches long, which is ridiculously stupid.
Adam Hernandez says Captain Greg DeVault will definitely put you on a ton of fish.
Thanks for the referral, Adam. Yep, he sent one of his good friends is going fishing with me next Sunday now. So Adam and Paul came up and they fished with me Monday and Tuesday. They're the two that caught all the fish. Adam actually had the Boogie Woogie Miradine. He's the one that brought it, and it went back all scarred up.
So we do have some limited dates left if you want to experience the airboat fishing.
Mm-hmm.
One of them would be not this coming weekend, but the next. We have some negative tides.
Right. Well, I don't anymore.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I do now.
Yes.
So there was a miscommunication.
Yeah.
But anyways, and then February.
Yeah, it's every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically every full and new moon, there's about 5 or 6 days that have big negative tides. So, and usually around Valentine's Day is when it starts to kind of when we start to warm up a little bit consistently. I guess is a good way to put it. And as much as the fish are out now, it's not going to take them long to get out of the creeks.
No.
And, that'll kind of be the next thing. I would think by the end of February, the hard points on the outside will be pretty busy.
So Bruce Radcliffe has a question, then we'll kind of wrap it up because Pat is itching to watch the game. And I'm sitting here watching it with him.
I'm watching the score. It's 10-10,
Yeah.
Miami and Ole Miss.
It was a good game, so.
And that's halftime, and I can just about get home during the break.
Bruce Radcliffe is asking, do y'all think they should change the red regulations to 2 or 3 per person?
No, but leave it alone. That's why we've got plenty of reds, because people are not out there grocery fishing.
We always say, if you want more, fish more. There's no, there's a lot of reds, and we've got a great fishery because of it. It doesn't.
Then leave it alone.
It's not broke.
We didn't have the fish that we have now when we had the 2 fish rule, right, Kenny? You remember?
Oh, yeah.
They beat them down pretty bad.
Yeah.
And everybody thought that was such a great idea, and it really isn't.
I mean,
The reason most everyone can go catch a redfish, at least one, is because we can only have 1 fish.
and if you think about how many, not that it's ever easy to catch a fish, but it's not hard to catch redfish right now for the last year or so. If you count how many boats are at the ramp every day and just figure if everybody's taking 2 redfish per person, how quickly that number gets to be well over 1,000 fish.
And talking about numbers at the ramp, this is the busiest Christmas break, holiday break I've ever seen.
It was busy, even in
Econfina. It's because the weather was nice.
Yeah, even in Econfina, it was busy.
But you want to come back in 2 weeks, or you want?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Listen to it.
Well,
Let's take a look. Let's take a look.
2 weeks will be the 22nd.
Let's say 22nd,
Okay.
23rd.
Let's make it
29th.
no, either the 20th or 21st. Well, I have to throw the day off a little bit. I will
Oh,
be in
you're going to
Jacksonville.
be in Jackson. Yeah.
How about,
I'll
how
be
about
fishing a tournament in Jacksonville.
Wednesday?
We can do that either Tuesday or Wednesday.
Which is easier for you?
Either one.
No, one's got to be better than the other. You're the one who didn't want to go on Thursday. Then pick.
Let's do Tuesday after the holiday.
All right, the 20th. All right.
Ooh, I'm glad I looked that up because I forgot to put someone's trip on Martin Luther King Day.
All right. So you're going to be where in Jacksonville fishing on the 23rd?
Is that Saturday?
No, the
Oh,
Saturday the
24th.
26th.
24th, yeah, but I'll be over there free fishing.
Yeah.
All right.
All righty. Well,
Be sure to take your magic plug.
Wake bait in Jacksonville.
it probably worked.
It will work over there, I promise. In Jacksonville,
Miami 17.
Oh, yeah, you got people on
10.
here telling you. All righty. Well, we'll see y'all next time or in 2 weeks. Pat, how can they get a hold of you?
OneMoreCast.net is a website. Phone number is 850-838-7541. Call or text.
And you can also get a hold of all of us right here,
Yep.
the banner that you've been staring at. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks, and we thank you for tuning in.
Good night.
Good night.